Hey lovelies, it is Catherine. Hello. I got some information for you guys today that might help to clear up some things that are happening at this very potent time of retrograde season. We've got Mercury, Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto. We've got Neptune about to go retro on the 21st, which is this Sunday, and then we have Chiron as well, which is technically, it's not a planet, but it's a comet, thought to be an asteroid. But it still affects our lives right down here. And I want to talk about how it affects, and all of this energy is affecting our lives down here. Hey, Courtney, thanks for being here. Hello, feeling it. Oh yeah, feeling it. And I want to talk about how to shift this and frame this in such a way that it's not just all this kind of hooey-fluey chaos that's happening all over the place. It's actually bringing us a really coherent package of transformation. And it's a time that is really an invitation from the universe to invite this energy in as a major portal of transition for us to move into that next up level, that next way of being, to move past our upper limits that have been informing us as a way of being up until now. These energies, a lot of emotional imprints, especially with Neptune coming up, and informing us, really giving us our perspective of the way that we have been, the way we've been, the driving force of our past, bringing this all up into the light right now with all these retrogrades, and allowing us to then see all the moving parts in front of us, like fully and completely, and then make a choice to make a change or to stay right where we're at. So I want to talk about it. I don't want to spend too much time because I want to make this really quick and easy, because I know a lot of people can have a really hard time understanding retrogrades and what they do and what kind of, and it depending on where your astrological rising sign, where your moon is, it can really affect your feelings during a time of even Mercury retrograde, right? Or Neptune retrograde. I happen to have a moon in Pisces, so this Neptune retrograde in Pisces that is about to happen on the 21st, like I'm feeling it already. Like I'm feeling incredibly emotional, very watery in my energy, lots of lucid dreams, high impact on my emotional state. Okay, so maybe some of you have a lot of Pisces in your chart, you're going to feel it differently. But I'm not an astrologer. But I do want to talk about, give a quick and dirty definition of what all of these are actually doing together, these coherent frequencies that are acting together with all of these retrogrades going on. It's creating a frequency, and it's really creating kind of the perfect storm for those of us who are really wanting to reinvent ourselves and start a new life. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. And I know that sounds really scary for some people, but I know that there are some of you out there, and some of you who I talk to and I engage with on my YouTube channel and who share comments with me in my podcast. I know you're going through this feeling of, I want to reinvent myself because what I've been doing just ain't working. And this is really an invitation. This is a portal. This is a gateway to take all of these amazing converging celestial energies and frequencies and kind of package it into your perfect time for reinvention. So I'm going to talk about that here a little bit. So obviously, Mercury retrograde, we got this going on, okay? No surprise, it goes through August 1st. I don't know why I thought it went till August 15th, but no, it goes through August 1st. This is really a time to finish what you started. I know that a lot of people will tell you and go into like the sky is falling type energy about Mercury retrograde. Don't sign contracts, don't travel, expect miscommunication. All of that is just disempowering AF. So I don't like to come at you with that kind of information. I like to tell you, okay, well, here's how you could funnel your energy to work with Mercury retrograde instead of against it. I'm not going to tell you all the things that are disempowering and the things that you should do or shouldn't do during Mercury retrograde, because quite frankly, I think that if you believe that, then that's true for you. However, if you believe that this is a great time to strategize, this is a great time to plan, this is a great time to be slow and steady at what you've been working on. Got a project you've been sitting on and it's literally you're looking at me on the computer right now or on your phone, and there's like a stack of stuff over in the corner that's been collecting dust, finish that up, clean it up. This is a great time to do that. This is a great time to strategize for your next step. This is a great time for you to work on your vision of who you, hi Becky, of who you really desire to be. Start getting more than just an inner vision of that, but get the feeling of who you want to be. Lay down the scaffolding, the framework of what it is that you're going to create for yourself. Mercury retrograde really lends itself to this time of being able to envision, to strategize, to plan, okay? Plan on what you're going to move forward with, and then you're ready to go like full bore after August 1st. If you happen to be one of those people, it's like, I'm not going to start anything new during Mercury retrograde. Full disclosure, I start new stuff all the time. I don't let Mercury retrograde tell me that I can't do it, but it does give me a lot of insight at what isn't working, what's not going to work, and where I can strategize and, not see something as a failure, but where I can see something in very high relief, what isn't working, and then I can make the steps to tweak it and change it. So Mercury retrograde can be great for that. Saturn retrograde. This is going to be going on until, I forget. I think it goes until the 18th of September, if I'm not mistaken. But this is really an interesting time for me too, because I got a lot of Saturn in my chart, and I've always been someone who's challenged authority. I don't like to be told what to do. I don't like the establishment, whatever that is, the man. I don't like to follow rules. I march to the beat of my own drum, and so I've always challenged convention, just taking anything at face value. Not for me, won't do it. I got to find out, even if it's the hard way, what works for me. This is where we're questioning authority. We're questioning the status quo in a big way. This can be the status quo in your own life. Where might things be going along in your life where you just feel like, okay, this is same old, all the predictable outcomes, all the usual suspects showing up again and again, the status quo, day in, day out. It's the same set of predictable outcomes. What am I doing to kind of keep that status quo? And where does that feel out of alignment with my greater vision that I have for myself, for my life, that's going to create greater meaning, greater fulfillment for me, okay? This is where we get to really take a look at our long-term desires and see if, hey, do my long-term desires for what I want to do with my life, the kind of people I want to surround myself with, the kind of projects I endeavor to do, does this jibe with convention? Does this jibe with whatever authority figure in my life is telling me it should be this way or could be that way or it won't ever be that way? And how do you feel about that? This is a time to really plumb the depths and look at where those things might be in contrast or in conflict with each other. This is a time for deep examination and life review. I got a lot of Saturn going on, okay? This is a major time of life review for me. Is it painful? Yep. Because I'm admitting some things to myself that I would rather not. However, bringing that part of my subconscious or unconsciously held beliefs to light is allowing me to course correct, and it's allowing me to cut out the fat of what I don't want to be doing anymore, and it allows me to put more of my focus, my attention, and kind of have tunnel vision at this time on what it is that I really want to do, and kind of like just steer in that direction and keep everything in my periphery that doesn't matter, doesn't have anything to do with my long-term goals. I'm able to kind of keep myopically my view on the road ahead and what needs to be done next. And it's keeping me really accountable and really disciplined just by knowing the things that I'm not anymore, and the things that don't jibe with me anymore, the things I don't want to be involved in, the things I don't want to do. I cut out a lot of fat from my life this week, and it actually felt really good. So having this level of self-discovery, it might be painful at first blush. I'm not going to say that it's not, because dark nights of the soul galore, like this past 7 days for me. But I went through it kind of fearlessly and just said, okay, I know it's going to suck, but I'm going to do it anyway, because ultimately what's down the road and the ripple effect of this self-realization, the self-discovery for me is going to pay off in dividends that I can't even possibly imagine right now. I have that level of faith and trust, and I invite you to do the same, okay? This deep examination leading to life review, it can be really, really fulfilling. Like, what do you really want to do with your life? What do you really want to do, okay? What are you doing right now that's not even close to being aligned with that? And that could be people you are commiserating with, you're sharing your misery with every single day, or you're allowing these people to drag them down to your level out of a feeling like, I need to be empathetic to this person. No, they're probably just sucking off your energy. So do you need that in your life anymore? And is it keeping you from doing what you want? Keeping you from the path of your highest vision for yourself? This is a time to look at that kind of stuff. So this goes on until September 18th, the Saturn retrograde. Life review, challenging authority, long-term desires, projects. What are you endeavoring to do? Courtney says, admitting some things to myself that I'd rather not. Same. Yeah, it's painful, but it does have a payoff. And sometimes when we just kind of enter into this energy with an open mind and an open heart, and we kind of just say to ourselves, this is going to suck. This is going to hurt. It's kind of like going to the dentist, or kind of like when you go and get your shots. Whatever it is, like, it's going to hurt. This is going to suck. But then it's over. And then I move on. And then I've freed up so much more creative energy to do what I'm here to do. And that is very rewarding. It will always and ever be rewarding. Jupiter, our deeper belief systems are being challenged, right? What deeper belief systems are you holding that maybe really jibe with the old you? Maybe the old you like this a year ago. Some of us feel deeply changed right now from the person that we were a year ago. I feel really different. A lot of things in my life are really different. My life looks very different. The way I've structured my business, it's very different. The people I have in my life, the people I don't have in my life, very different than just a year ago, okay? So many of you are probably feeling the same way. Like, maybe even in the last 5-6 months, things have changed so much. There's people that I'm working with right now that have told me, like, Catherine, my life is unrecognizable compared to like January of this year. I know! These energies are no joke. And if we learn to ride the wave of it in a way where we're not resisting it and we're kind of in the flow of it, we can have tremendous change that's really a boost for us and lends itself to where we want to go. However, if you're in resistance and if you are moving through this period of great accelerated change with resistance in your mind, and you're having it in your body too, you can feel the physical resistance. And those of you who are feeling more dense, more heavy in your body, your chronic pain has gotten more inflamed, it really does have to do with the emotional resistance you're carrying to this transition that's happening, this transformation that's happening in your life. Your deeper belief systems, one way or another, are being challenged. You may want to do some deeper exploration. And it's really our subconscious belief systems, because Jupiter has everything to do with your subconscious, and so does Pluto, by the way. But your belief systems that you're holding, what do you believe that's informing the way that you relate to life in general? What are those beliefs that, I'm talking about the way you move through your everyday life. What are those beliefs that you're holding on to? Are they still valid for you? You holding on to them out of maybe a sense of loyalty to a family member, to an ancestor, because that's just the way mom told me it was. Well, is that the way it is anymore? Because mom's world was a hell of a lot different than your world, okay? And your daughter, your son, if you have kids, their world is going to be much different than yours, okay? So we got to roll with these changes. So where you're feeling that your deeper belief systems are being challenged right now, you're going to want to take a deeper look at that, okay? What's going on? What are you kind of feeling like, I think I might believe this now? There's a lot of feelings of trepidation on taking on a new set of beliefs, because we feel like, well, then I won't be this same person anymore. That fear of losing the identity. Because our identity is what we kind of grasp onto in this world. In our ego identity, we grasp onto that in this world as saying, well, I am me, I am somebody, okay? And if that gets threatened in some way, we can feel very lost, we can feel very out of control. However, the more you try to white knuckle this old way of being, and that has to do a lot with your deeper belief systems, the more uncomfortable you are going to be. Sorry, not sorry. It's just the way it is. So where can you loosen that up a little bit? Where are you being maybe prompted to not take on blindly someone else's beliefs because they're a very strong personality and you just feel like, oh, I better believe what that person believes. No, it's about tuning in to maybe a deeper belief system than the one that you've been holding your whole life, that just holds a little more hopefulness for you, makes you feel a little bit more wide open, expanded, makes you feel like you're not so powerless, makes you feel like, you know what, it could be this way. I always thought it was this way, but you know what, it could actually be that way. Where are you opening up to that? Retrogrades will help you bring this into contrast, and then you get to choose which way you want to go. Sarah said, I had that same thought earlier today about how my kids will hopefully grow up different. I can't read the bottom comment. I wish I could just read the comments like a normal person. But it is Mercury retrograde, isn't it? Let me see if I can read it here. There we go. I had that same thought earlier today, Sarah says, about how my kids will hopefully grow up different than how I was raised and not have to struggle with all the anger and inner turmoil. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. You know, let's hope that through our actions now, we're creating a legacy for our kids to kind of ride the tails of what we're creating right here, right now. You know, a better world. I mean, that's ultimately what we're talking about here, right? But when they see us act in a way that's integrity with what's in our heart, they're going to want to do the same. And that's the best hope we can have for the future of humanity. Yes? Okay, so where was I? Jupiter. Yeah, where are these deeper belief systems that are maybe taking hold within you right now where you kind of feel like, but I've never believed that way before. Okay, but is your intuition telling you, just try this out? Like, dip your big toe in the water here and see what goes on. See what happens. See how it shakes out. Try something new, okay? That's how you develop a new belief system, right? It starts with a thought, and then an idea, and then an action, and then it becomes a new reality for you, yes? So where is the greater vision of your life maybe lining up with some of these new beliefs you feel you're being introduced to, okay? It's time to explore that a little bit more for yourself. Pluto. Pluto. How do you relate to life-changing transitions? Okay, Pluto is retrograde until, I think, October 3rd. Something like that. How do you relate to life-changing transitions? Which is another way of asking, how are you relating to the process of ascension? The whole planet moving to a higher frequency and an elevated consciousness. How are you relating to this change? Because, no joke, people, it's big. It's big. I mean, just talking about how all of these retrogrades are interrelating with each other, that's big enough as it is. But when you look at what's happening with Pluto retrograde, it's about really how do you subconsciously think or feel about transformation as a whole? I mean, are you deathly scared of it? Do you embrace it? I stopped being scared of change a while ago because once I really got on the path of my spiritual journey and started to teach and started to mentor, I realized that if I hope to do what I want to do and be in the highest integrity and authenticity with what I do as a teacher, as a mentor, as someone who shares about planetary ascension, I got to be more than okay with change. I got to be more than okay with being uncomfortable. In fact, I got to get really comfortable with being uncomfortable. So for me, like, I embrace change. I kind of love it. I'm a little bit weird in that way. I love transformation. I love it when things show up in unexpected ways that are unpredictable yet delightful at the same time. And because I have this general expectation that things are going to change, and they're going to change in ways that I couldn't have possibly imagined before because I had a limited scope of mind, and the way that things are happening in the physical reality are way far off base as far as I had envisioned them. Like, I could feel the way things were going to shape up, but the way they ended up looking, not at all like I thought they were going to be. And I find that surprise to be delightful. And I anticipate the unpredictability of these things in a more delightful way, and I'm less scared of it now. And because of being in the frequency of that and that kind of like sense of wonder type expectation, my life has been moving along with these waves of change with a lot more grace. Not necessarily ease, but a lot more grace, a lot more flow, because I'm not resisting it. Where are you resisting the transformation? Do you feel like it's terrifying that next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, this planet could be entirely different than the way we think of it right now? Does that scare you? And why? What if you could have the best hope for humanity, and the way it would look a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now could be greater than you could possibly imagine? What if you could embrace that way of being? Well, you can worry about the world going to shit over the next 1, 5, 10 years. It's up to you, the choice you want to make. Or you could opt in for, you know what? The world is going to have delightfully unexpected outcomes a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Which one feels better? Pluto is challenging you to take a look at how you feel about transformation as a whole. What parts of your shadow self are emerging around this? Okay, and the way you think about things. Hi, Sandra. What in this time of planetary ascension and transformation, what is the shadow that's really coming up into the light, that's coming into high relief? All of these retrogrades, as they work as a coherent, synergistic energy, they are shining a light on many of our subconsciously held beliefs, our whole belief system, the way we navigate in the world, and how we will continue to do that going forward. All of that's being challenged right now because of the authority figure, how we question authority, how we jibe with the status quo with Saturn, Jupiter, deeper belief systems, Mercury, being able to finish what we started. Just because you started something one way doesn't mean you have to finish it the same way. And Mercury retrograde can be great for that, because you can finish something out and you can bring something to completion and closure that maybe doesn't look like anything you thought it would be when you started the project, and that's okay. But that has a lot to do with how you feel about transformation, which brings us back to Pluto again. But there's parts of the shadow self that are emerging like gangbusters, especially with all these other planets being in retrograde right now. So that may feel like 1 minute like you've made a decision, and then the next minute you're questioning it. There's going to be a lot of second guessing. You're probably already doing this. I know I'm already doing this. I'm trying to get a little bit more into my intuitive self. As Neptune retrograde comes in, which I'm going to talk about next, those of you who have a lot of Pisces in your chart, it may be easier to flow with kind of the watery energy of Neptune. Those of you who are already used to having lucid dreams, or maybe having an active daydreaming life, have a very good connection with your inner reality, you might really like this energy of Neptune retrograde, or you might be kind of on the fence with it like I am. Like, some of it's really good, but it's also bringing some stuff into high relief about my inner reality that maybe I haven't wanted to admit to before. But this brings us up to one last thing I wanted to mention about Pluto before I talk about Neptune and Chiron. What gifts in the garbage can you embrace to better get a handle on this transitional stage of your life? Gifts in the garbage, meaning what I was just talking about, the things that are coming up with all these retrogrades, part of my subconscious belief system, subconsciously held beliefs about how I think about myself, about how I think about the world in general, how I think about my relationships, how I think about my health, how I think about my inner wellness in general. There are some things being challenged right now. But the gift in the garbage is that, okay, the garbage is the stuff I don't want to look at. It's the shadow, right? We all have this. But the gift is the wisdom and insight that you now have about this thing. You know about it. You can no longer be in self-denial about it. You can no longer sweep it under the rug. In fact, everything that you have swept under the rug is coming up right now. I know, Pisces moon, for you too, Sarah, especially. A lot of the stuff that you swept under the rug, that's all going to come up. It's like a high-powered vacuum cleaner right now. It's going to just suck all that stuff right up and bring it onto the top of the carpet so you can see it. You can't deny it. You can't be in self-delusion anymore. That's a gift. That's a gift. What you decide to do with it after that is entirely up to you. That's up to your free will choice as a human being. I wish you well on making the right choices that are aligned with your highest and best good. Ultimately, it's your choice to make what you will do with this information and knowledge that's all coming up to the surface now. Neptune. And I think I mentioned Pluto ends October 3rd. Neptune is about to go retrograde on the 21st. Those of us who have a lot of Pisces energy, we are feeling it big time. Big time, big time, big time. And Neptune is going retrograde in Pisces. So I'm really feeling it, and I feel challenged, but I feel enlightened. I feel like cracked wide open in the most vulnerable way. But I also feel like there's tons of informational downloads coming in during dream time for me. So it's like this weird kind of balance that's funky but great at the same time. So I'd love to hear if anyone else is feeling that. But I'm already getting this. I'm already having crazy dreams, crazier than usual. Lots of downloads, lots of information, lots of really watery energy. I'm having a lot of water connections. Sacred element activations. I'm doing a lot of sacred element activations with water right now. If you want to ask me about that, this is too lengthy to go into here, but I have a sacred element series of activations that I do, and I keep doing my water activation because every time I do, I get deeper and more profound downloads, just because it jibes with the frequencies that are alive and well right now. Neptune, how does your inner reality reflect that of your physical reality? So your emotional inner reality creates an imprint of who you are. Your emotional inner reality has created the driving force of who you are up to this point. Do you like that inner emotional imprint? If you don't, there can't be a better time for you to change it than right now. How good is your connection with your inner reality? Do you like your inner world? Or are you someone who's constantly distracting yourself so you don't have to think about it, don't want to be there, don't want to look at that, don't want to know it, okay? This is ultimately your inner reality, always and ever, reflects in your outward physical reality. It has to, okay? Because the stronger emotional imprint that you hold inside will be reflected, it will be mirrored in your physical reality. So how is that inner reality also reflecting on you outwardly? What kind of outward ways are you showcasing yourself? Are you performing, acting, behaving in the world? Are these two things in conflict? Are you projecting an outward reality that is in direct conflict with your inner reality of who you truly are? This is a time to bring this back into balance, people. This is a time to really, really self-examine where that's out of alignment. Lots of emotional challenges right now. It's time to look at how the emotional imprint of who you have been has created your entire identity and personal reality, and how you outwardly portray yourself, and start to redesign then a new inner reality of your own reimagining, of your own redesigning, of your own rebuilding. This is time for you, a real great time for you to do this. Is this the invitation from the universe for you if you've been wanting to reinvent yourself, have a major life transformation? If you're going through a transition, maybe something is happening in your life that's rather painful. Maybe you're going through a divorce. Maybe you've just experienced a death. Maybe you've lost a job. It could be any kind of a transition. But this is really an invitation now from Neptune in this retrograde coming up to say, hey, maybe you really never wanted that job. And the gift and the garbage for you was that you no longer have to have this job to worry about. You don't have to outwardly portray yourself at this job in a way that felt inauthentic and genuine to you. You weren't using your true gifts. You weren't using your true talents. So where in your inner reality is your soul being crying out for a different expression? And where can you outwardly express that by, let's just say, I don't know, starting your own business, going into a completely different line of work? Don't be afraid, because you are supported. Even though these energies feel like they are all over the place, believe me, there is a more divine craft to all of this than we are privy to seeing down here on planet Earth. We don't always see how these energies shake out right away. In fact, we can't, because our minds would explode. We can't handle it. Our ego scope, our human conditioning doesn't really allow for that kind of profound knowledge to come in and hit us on a level that we can relate to, okay? So we're meant to kind of have this drip, let's call it a cosmic drip of information that comes to us when we're ready to receive it, when we're divinely aligned to accept it and understand it and see it for what it is. Trust that the actions that you take now will be lovingly supported, because they will be. Christelle says, my intuition is change, change, change. I'm ready. I'm day 37 juice fast. Oh, awesome. Congratulations. And I stop tomorrow. I feel a new me. I meditate every day. I'm ready for abundance and higher vibrations. Better than abundance. How about saying, I am ready for cosmic bounty? I am ready for cosmic bounty. Meaning you're not just pulling in abundance and prosperity that we think about down here in the physical plane, that is just a physical manifestation of our desires, but rather cosmic bounty means you are in alignment with the highest and best expression of you always. Beautiful. And not only you being in your highest good in that way helps you and serves you, but it serves all of humanity as well. Cosmic bounty. So that's Neptune. So how is the emotional imprint of who you are and who you have been, how is that being outwardly portrayed? Are those things in contrast? Where can you clean it up? Where can you shift that? Where do you want to create an entirely new outward reality for yourself? Well, it starts inward, okay? You have to change your inner reality first. What you think, what you feel, what you believe has to change, and it has to jibe with your ultimate vision and your highest ideal of self. You can create a more refined, a more authentic identity in outer reality that matches your ideal for being. But it starts in here. Start crafting that. It's Mercury retrograde. This is a great time to plan, to strategize that, to get clear on who that person is going to be, okay? And last but not least, Chiron, okay? Not really a planet, it's a comet. This is going, it went retrograde on the 8th of July, I believe, and it goes until December 12th, until 12/12, which is an awesome number. But this is all about where we're holding any of that wounded healer energy, right? This is about holistic wellness, really. How we think of ourselves as a whole, as being well or not well. So it's on a physical level, it's emotional, it's mental, it's spiritual. Yeah, cosmic bounty, you're welcome. Please enjoy that. Where are your internal wounds creating your perspective and how you frame your entire worldview? How much have you let your internal wounds run the show? This is a time where that comes up into high relief. And where you have swept that under the rug before, that's all coming up. It's all coming up, okay, with Chiron. Thank you, Chiron. Where you don't allow yourself to heal, where you haven't given yourself permission to heal because you've decided you're going to play a role, and that's the victim, the martyr. Or you're going to spite someone by staying angry, by staying hurtful, by staying spiteful, by staying sick. Where can you heal that? Where can you forgive that? And it's really, yes, it's about forgiving others, but true healing comes when you forgive yourself. For whatever. You may think you're the worst person on the planet. Doesn't matter. Forgive yourself for it. The universe, the cosmos, only sees you as a ball of light. It doesn't see all of your ego wounding, your deep internal wounding. It doesn't see where you negate yourself or where you decide to self-limit yourself. In the greater sense of who you are a ball of light, a big sparkly light. That doesn't mean that you should spiritually sidestep the things you need to clean up and take care of as a human being living out a human existence. You do. To really embody the highest and best expression of who you are, it is about a spiritual awakening and a human awakening. They are two sides of the same coin. You cannot have one without the other. So you can't claim to be spiritual woke if you're not working on your shadow, if you're not owning up to your shit, if you are in self-deception or self-denial about some aspect of you that isn't whole, that isn't complete, that isn't healed, okay? Chiron is helping us to look at where we're hurt at the deep soul level of our being and what has been so deeply internalized and buried, and where that's all now coming up to the light for deeper self-excavation, deeper self-examination, deeper self-discovery, deeper self-realization. The gift and the garbage with this, with Chiron, is that we get to know who we truly are. We get to know who we really are. Like underneath all the bullshit, all the layers of I'm wounded, I'm scarred, I'm beyond help, all that crap that we say to ourselves, all that bullshit, pardon my French, underneath all of that, the gift and the garbage is that we get to see who we really are. We get to see a greater vision for our future and actually believe that it could happen, okay? This is time to alchemize those old lumps of coal, all our wounds, those old lumps of coal, into diamonds. We get to mine these into diamonds if you allow that, if you give yourself permission to heal. If you give yourself permission to stop playing the victim, to stop playing the wounded healer. This is such a powerful and profound time with all these retrogrades. I hope you get that from what I've been sharing, if you've been here watching the whole thing. Such a powerful cocktail of energies. And you can go ahead and say the sky is falling, all these planets are retrograde, it's chaos down here on planet Earth, oh my God, and we're in between eclipses and all this, that, and the other thing. You can do that. Or you can say, God, what a wonderful pathway for my transformation. What a wonderful gateway for me to finally reinvent myself and build myself up the way I want to be. Not by default. Not because I reacted to life, but rather because I am responding to life. I'm responding to my desires. I'm responding to my vision. I'm responding to my deeper soul being. I'm responding to my authentic truth for me, because your truth for you is different than your truth for me. But all that layer, all those layers of human conditioning and all the bullshit and all the lies and all the false beliefs and the false ideals of self, all that crap is really being ripped away at this time. And some of you are saying, oh, this is garbage. I'm saying it's a gift. And there's plenty of gifts in this garbage, in this chaos, for us to do so much greater work. And the greatest work you can do, the greatest commitment you can make in this lifetime is the commitment that you make to yourself. So what are your key commitments right now for your growth? That you will vow to yourself that you're going to align with these energies and flow with these energies in a really powerful way that is going to drive your life forward and be in alignment with the greater vision of the highest ideal that you hold for yourself. Because it's all open. It's all on the table, people. It's all there. It's ripe for the picking. But you got to be brave. You got to be courageous. You have to have some belief and faith and trust. And not just in the energies, but in yourself. Not just about, believing in your angels or your guides. I mean, they're all here to help you, and that's fine. Greater source consciousness, absolutely. But you got to believe in yourself, too, because that's part of your human awakening process, that knowing that you, as a human, can make these shifts, can make these changes, can achieve this transformation. You can. Okay? So I hope this information has been helpful for you. I want to wish you all so much love, so many blessings during this time. I'm going to be coming live a lot more often to just talk about this stuff because I know y'all need help. And I know that it can be really great to just sometimes have someone understand what you're going through, to know that the healing journey is difficult. And believe me, I know, I get it. And so you're not alone. Those of you who are all here, we all came together as a group because we all want to know that there's some light at the end of the tunnel, that there's a greater way of being. There is. I'm here to tell you that there is. Keep doing the good work. Keep fighting the good fight. Love and peace.